Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagan Sadrisham Tattvamasya Lakshyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme precept. The Yoga Vasistha, and I have made a little jump, because already we have talked about the miseries in the world of today. You don't need to. Now, how to remedy the miseries? We have come to Mumukshu Prakarana, section 13. Etam drishtam avashtabhya ishtatmanah subuddhayah vicharanti samsare mahanto vyudita iva na shochanti na vajjanti na yachante shubhashubham sarvameva cha kurvanti na kurvanti ha kinchana. That's how this chapter begins, this section begins. Having attained enlightenment, sages roam in this world. They don't roam, they roam. Like emperors. That's a worldly allegory. They neither grieve during adverse conditions nor desire prosperous conditions in life. In other words, their mind remains balanced in different situations of life. Here you are being directed towards the understanding of the climax, the highest goal. What happens when you attain it? If you attain it, your mind is constantly in a state of balance and serenity. The world has no power to distract your mind. It loses its power. How can it be possible? Answer is within your hands. When you sleep and you have a dream, and in your dream you are in a terrible situation, but it dawns upon you that it is a dream. Once it dawns upon you, then all the catastrophe of the dream and all the prosperity of the dream, you see it with both same vision. All the prosperity, nothing means, nothing real. All the adversity, nothing real either. And that experience comes to you every day. Apply it in a very profound way. And that requires good amount of spiritual food, and you have to digest it with good digestion. Though performing daily duties well, they are non-performer of actions. Now, the moment your mind develops the idea to maintain balance, you hear that sages don't have agitation in their mind. They are same in adversity, same in prosperity. And you begin to practice it. In other words, simple intellectual understanding will not allow you to practice it in a real way. When you practice it, your practical world goes into turmoil. See fire blazing in the house, same. It would be raining, it would be fire, same thing, unbalanced. If you are practicing that type of balance, that's not real, that's dull-witted. What type of balance of mind? So the scripture says, though performing daily duties well, think of the well, not going into the well, but this is the well, doing well. Your daily duties, as you progress on the spiritual path, your ability to perform your duties will become highly enhanced. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. You develop a skill in performing action. What are the skills? Let me give just an outline of it. First point, you don't leave things to be done. Certain task has come to you today. You don't leave it for, when I have a better mood, I will handle it. So we have the formula DIN, do it now. And there is a saintly saying, Kal kare so aaj kar. Work that is to be done tomorrow, the duty that has come. What to be done tomorrow, do it today. Kal kare so aaj kar. What was to be done tomorrow, do it right away. But tomorrow will be free. Aaj kare so ab. And the duty that is to be done today, don't say I will do it when the sun sets. Do it now. Pal mein parlay hoegi. Within a moment, things can go into deluge. Bahuri karoge kab? So if you postpone your duty, what it simply implies, in a world that is so transient, you do not develop trust that tomorrow will be there for you and your duty will be all aligned. You have to understand in a profound way. It has a very profound message. The idea is, be expert in performing your duties day by day and keep your head clear. While performing your duties well, you go on developing a deeper clarity of understanding. It goes both ways. As you have clarity of understanding, your duties become better. Better implies you have certain task to handle. Your mind plans out the whole project in such a way that you don't miss any important point in it. And you accomplish the task in the shortest duration possible without haste. So, performing your duties well is a part of yoga, is a characteristic of karma yoga. karma being handled. And if you perform your duty well, you will not have to move into negative karmas or degrading karmas. When a student has given his examination with perfect intelligence, he doesn't have to steal answers from others. I'm just looking from. But when you mix up errors in your task, then your task takes a long time. You have to write an essay, and you put into it lots of grammatical mistakes. So now you have to go through it. And I'm just elaborating too, that it takes a long time to maintain, do your project. But if you had started the project with a clear head, you will not be committing mistakes. And you will have a clear mind, allows you to do your duty with inspiration. And when you finish it, you don't feel exhausted, but feel inspired. It is just a breakfast of laddus. They neither grieve during adverse conditions nor desire prosperous conditions in life. And they are unaffected by success and failure. You perform a duty. You have planted a tree. That was your duty as a farmer. You did everything possible. And hardly the tree was going to grow up, a lightning crushed it. Instead of sitting down crying over it, get another tree. I'm just giving you a simple way to understand. Now, also I'm turning your mind to subtler point. The scripture says, Vipado naiva vipada, sampado naiva sampada. Vipad Vishmaranatha Vishnu, sampat Narayana Smriti. Adversity and prosperity, they are not evaluated by your ego if you are on the spiritual path. It is evaluated by your buddhi, your intellect. And your intellect has to understand that life cannot present everything according to what you like. It has to always, all types of things, likable, unlikable, all have to happen. When a baby begins to walk, baby has to fall and then get up again. In this process of making error, correcting it, going the wrong way, and then moving towards the right way, this process continues in life. And what you consider adversity today, tomorrow you may consider it prosperity. I always give the example of the man who misses the plane and interprets it as terrible adversity. Planned for months for a wonderful trip, and somehow someone drew his attention in such a way that he missed the plane. He curses the person and curses everybody around who held him back. But later he hears that the plane crashed and all people in it smashed. Now he thanks everybody who stopped him from going. So adversity and prosperity should not be interpreted by your mind, led by your ego. What is adversity and what is prosperity? The scripture says, when you are aware of God's presence, or when you are remembering God, that is prosperity. And when you don't remember God, that's real adversity. In practical life, it's other way around. In adversity, your hands fold, oh God. Remember God. When prosperity, God is out. You remember your bank, how to invest it. I'm joking, but with advanced spiritual sensitivity, you will know that life is a transient condition. Neither adversity will stay nor prosperity. And your goal is to utilize adversity and prosperity. Utilize adversity, consider it like austerity. Do everything to alleviate adversity. Do everything possible. Leave no stone unturned. But in spite of all that, adversity, karma is such that sometimes adversity continues no matter what you do. But consider this as not as a wastage of time. Consider like austerity. You are gaining certain spiritual merit by being patient and utilizing your energy to the best of your capacity in a right direction. So therefore, for sensitive aspirants, a day that has passed without prayer, without spiritual inspiration, without some satsanga, without doing some good deed, the day that has passed like that is a day of adversity. On the other hand, the day that has been raining and little sneezy and all that, but in spite of all that, if it has passed with something concrete, something of a meaningful nature, and you have been able to help someone, help yourself to understand scripture, to remove illusions from your mind, think of many positive ways to live your life. And if you have done that, then that adversity is your prosperity. It's not real adversity. These enlightened sages, in the eyes of others, they are like anybody else. They have their projects, they move this way, they move that way. But the scripture says, though they appear to do various things, though they appear to speak, inwardly they are without any activity. They are speaking and yet inwardly they are mona, silent. They are seeing, inwardly they are not seeing this world of multiplicity. They are doing various things inwardly, God alone does. They are not attributing that action to their ego. When the Supreme Self is realized, human mind in the state of enlightenment has nothing to gain or lose from the world. So therefore, gain and loss in practical worlds are viewed from that advanced mind with perfect serenity. Just like clouds may gather in the sky and create a lot of celebration, noisy celebration with thunder and all that, lightning. Or the clouds can move away and say to the sky, we will not speak to you anymore. To the sky, it's all the same. There is that potentiality in human being to be like the sky. Observe everything. Nothing goes out of your sight. And yet, untouched. See the whole world. See the drama. Listen to all the news that goes on breaking about terror, etc. But deep down, don't get broken up. You are not the screen. I'm joking. One who is not enlightened, led by ignorance, that person, that unenlightened person, continues to bring memories of objects, objects that you have enjoyed, and objects that have given you pain. You go on remembering them, bringing mind to your mind. Your mind is never calm, relaxed. And all that memory enables you, gives you a kind of, the Hindi word is kutuhal, a kind of ticklish curiosity. Curiosity that tickles. To enter into different projects, to take up risky situations with the idea you will become suddenly big, rich person, you will be suddenly well known, you'll go on viral, and how wonderful it will be. But if you are enlightened, all these memories of things that happened in the past and expectations for future, all these move away from your mind. The joy that you experience cannot be imagined. It's just like full moon has entered your heart with all the shower of nectar. So in order to attain that type of joy, you should have to train your mind not to be ticklish regarding pleasures of the senses. Let me turn your attention to the same topic described in the Gita. Dhyayato vishayan punsa sangasteshu upajayate. What happens when you go on remembering object again and again? What happens? You become attached to the object. Sangat sanjayate kama. And when you are terribly attached to certain object, then you develop desire. May I have that object? Kamat krodho bijayate. The moment desire enters your mind, you lose your peace. Agitation takes place. If object that you want, you gain it, it creates elation in your mind. If you don't get it, it creates depression in your mind. Elation and depression both are described in one word in that particular context as krodha, as kind of agitation in your mind. Krodha bhavati sammoha. When mind is agitated, your sensible vision, your understanding gets deluded. You can't have clear understanding. Krodha bhavati sammoha. Just like mist has developed around you and you cannot really figure out. Sammohat buddhi nasho. And due to that confusion, illusion, your intellect is as if dead. And a person living without the guidance of intellect doesn't attain the purpose of his life. He is as if destroyed. So how? Simple little things entering your mind day by day have their repercussions. Same way, in a positive way, if you allow the mind to move with japa, Ishwara Smaran, instead of Vishaya Smaran, allowing the mind to imagine what is a sage. Allow yourself to assimilate these great qualities of inner peace. As you do, then what happens, instead of developing kama, desire, you develop nishkama, desirelessness. If there is desirelessness, your mind will not go through agitation. Even if your mind is agitated, a deeper level within you remains calm, watches your own mind, and is not in it. And if that is so, he will be stripped of moha, illusion. He will attain enlightenment eventually. Na karoti indrajalani nanu dhavati vasanam balachapala mutsrijya purvameva virajate. Having attained wisdom, the mind does not go after Indrajala. The word Indrajala is a very interesting word. Indrajala means magic show. But why it is called Indrajala? All the karmas, do good deeds with the idea that in a heavenly world you will enjoy the fruit of your good karma. But that heavenly world is Indra's world, and that will require going into deeper aspect of Hindu scriptures. The term Indra and celestial heaven. For masses, that's very captivating possibility to be in a heavenly world where you can go on drinking milk from the Kshir Sagar without having any calories. I'm joking, but the fanciful ideas of enjoyment, intense enjoyment, all fascinating imaginations. That's called Indrajala. Because all of this will not lead you to real satisfaction. Karma will be over, will be dumped again into another embodiment. So, heavenly enjoyment, as long as that becomes your inspiring objective, then you are going after a magic show. But when God realization becomes your objective, not heavenly enjoyment, enjoyment that transcends all mental concepts, that also shouldn't give you much problem in understanding. When you sleep, the whole world moves away. And the happiness of your sleep becomes perfect. That's why after a good sleep, you wake up, say, oh, such a wonderful sleep, I knew nothing. Never is a time that people celebrate their ignorance. But after sleep, you celebrate your ignorance. You knew nothing. So, in other words, in liberation, all this world vanishes, because this world is not a reality. This world is being experienced through your brain, through your nervous system, through your mind and senses. Just like your cell phone brings so many things, but they are not permanent. It can bring you display of wonderful foods, but not any item can you chew. That's joking, but all human experiences are very similar. All human beings using their nervous system experiences the world in a particular way. A bird experiences the same world in another way. Even among human beings, people with different mindset experience the world in totally different ways. The world, therefore, is not something permanent and a steady reality, but dependent upon how you are perceiving it. And if you take away that perceiving process, the world is not there. When the mind does not go after objects of the world, there are two stages in this. You go after the objects led by mala, gross impurities. Gross impurities are those that you can recognize. You get angry, you know you are angry. And if you are sensitive, you also know when you are proud, conceited, and so forth. But there are times when you develop a concept that you have conquered anger. 6 months and you have not been angry, or even 6 days. That anger exists in your unconscious, in the form of vikshepa, in the form of vasana, subtle desires. In the case of a sage, that vasana level becomes absolutely purified. In other words, any impurity, neither does it exist as in gross nor in the form of subtle impression. Led by vasana, that's what the majority of people live in the world, led by vasana. But all their experience is just like childish attainments. Because nothing is going to be permanent. Working so hard your whole life, and suddenly you find yourself with your own loved ones nearby, that I have found you a wonderful place. Spending the last days of your life there. And then what the predicament? All the memories and all the frustration and bitterness, in spite of your own practical troubles of body and mind, all this other trouble comes and overwhelms your mind. But that's the predicament of the masses. If you don't have any spiritual inspiration or any spiritual culture, then that's what awaits every individual. You don't have to be jealous about anybody, no matter how prosperous they are. Therefore, while you have the zeal to live, understand how to make your life purposeful, really enriching, so that even before aging process and death sets in, you have conquered that calamity. You have become deeply involved with the understanding, I am not the body, I am not the mind. I am Satchidananda, I am like the sky. Not like the sky, even better than the sky. I am Satchidananda, existence, consciousness, and bliss absolute. Therefore, Vasistha says to Rama that an aspirant should dedicate his life to listening to the scriptural teachings, Shravana, and that involves kirtan and swadhyaya. In devotional language, you sing the glory of God. You allow your ears to sing kirtans, prayers. And as listening goes on, the next step is manana. You begin to assimilate it in your deeper understanding. And as assimilation goes on, you come to a stage known as Nididhyasana, ordinarily translated as meditation and samadhi. But Nididhyasana means your mind has come to understand that God alone is the reality. So no matter wherever your mind goes, instead of remembering the objects, you are feeling the presence of God. Put it in a simple way, if you are seated by the beach, looking at the ocean, your mind can be turned two ways. Go after the wave. You like a particular wave, and you have progressive machinery to watch that wave, how it is going. And you see the wave coming into turmoil with other waves. And let your mind sway this way and that way, watching the condition of the wave. Or move away from all the waves. You are looking at the ocean. No matter which, wherever your mind goes, it goes to a particular wave, but you are not recognizing it as a wave, as the ocean. You figure that out, how it can be possible. That's called Nididhyasana, Brahmakara vritti. The mind, instead of developing thought waves pertaining to objects, it creates a mystical, intuitive thought wave, a type of transfiguration of thought, which allows you to have intuitional vision that all this is pure consciousness. Let me give you another illustration. You are looking at so many illuminations of the sun in daily life. Countless illuminations, countless reflections. And you are worried about, you see a beautiful reflected sun in a clear jar. to a child, shaking of that reflection means trouble. Sun in the jar is in trouble. But allow your mind to expand further. Every reflected aspect of the sun is in trouble. The rainbow comes and it is in trouble. Shining clouds are in trouble. So you are looking at a world full of troubles. But why don't you look at the sun? The sun is not in trouble. So instead of allowing the mind to go after these illuminations of the sun, when the mind goes after the sun itself, that's called Brahmakara Vritti. That's called Nididhyasana. And that, in the beginning, may seem difficult to understand, but there is innate potentiality for you that makes it very simple, just like it's difficult to understand what happens in sleep. But you don't work out in your mind. And now I have to relax my toes, relax my fingers, relax my head. I have to go into sleep. That's my project. But you simply fall into sleep. In the same way, moving away from the world of all these illuminations to the source, the sun, is a very spontaneous development. So Nididhyasana leads you to sakshatkar, realization. So we use these words, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, and sakshatkar. Shravana, listening. Listening removes the doubts of your mind. Called sanshaya bhavana. But after listening, as you go on dwelling upon it, reflecting upon it, assimilating the teaching in your life, in your action, then doubting state moves away. But mind does not have a very clear understanding. Mind understands that you are immortal. You are not the body. And all limitations have been caused by karmas. But then your mind says, enlightenment is not possible in this life, because you start calculating how many karmas are there. and you put time, space involved in it. But what you mistake, that you are not bringing God in that study. In other words, for God, nothing is impossible. When you have to wake up from dream, and if you have to calculate, I have to let go every little thing of the dream in order to wake up. But that doesn't happen. You simply wake up. You don't go after progressive elimination of dream world. The entire dream moves away. So Shravana, Manana. The more Manana you do, the more asambhavana moves away. Asambhavana, the sense of impossibility. Shravana removes doubts. Manana removes a sense of impossibility. And Nididhyasana removes the veil of ignorance, and you become, in Sanskrit terminology, it removes viparita bhavana, the feeling that the world is real. That's a mistaken feeling. That feeling moves away. No matter how much burdened you may be due to adversities, how much afflicted you may be, never give up your sadhana. Do not follow the path of the dull wits, because you will not be led to anything substantial. If you allow your mind to stay in a dull-wit state, the scripture now points out to thee, all the miseries that you think you have suffered from, they are nothing. Because this ignorance can throw you into embodiment after embodiment. And each embodiment brings countless situations. Think of all the challenging situations you have faced from the time you are born to this moment you are existing. And if all that seems so immense, but you will realize through countless lives you have suffered, do some mathematical work. Million times more. And if you don't attain enlightenment, that's the same process. So be kind to yourself, compassionate. Do not subject yourself to the world of illusion, led by this faulty or deluded concept of pleasure. That doesn't mean that you don't live for happiness. If you are not going after deluded pleasure, you are going after profound experience of joy, peace, goodness of the heart, feeling attuned with the whole world. All these great qualities, how much happiness they can give to you, can't imagine. Idam Shavyam Sukhkaram Yatha Drishtanta Sundaram Aviruddham Asheshena Prastram Vakyarthaman Bandhuna. This scripture, Vasistha is saying, the teachings he is going to give form a scripture, Yoga Vasistha. It is bestower of boundless joy. And the scripture has been so presented that there are numerous stories and illustrations that delight your heart. You hardly know how you are gaining spiritual treasure. And all these teachings of this scripture do not oppose any other scripture of the world. It's in harmony with universal religion. And continues, O Rama, all miseries and all tormenting conditions in life, they arise out of folly, out of ignorance. It's better to live a life in a humiliating condition, using the Yoga Vasistha allegory. Better to have a little clay pot to get food, and you seek food from chandalas, people who are very in a low condition in society. That state is better than being ignorant. Implying ignorance will bring degradation beyond your imagination. Not one time, many times, million times. And with this I'm going to conclude. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.